Hello guys, this is Dr. Lior Bar-El, and today I have some awesome news. Basically, if you guys remember when the NES Classic came out. Now, I'm a big fanboy of these things, so, you know, I know it's kind of gimmicky, especially with emulation going on and all of this stuff, so I'm just going to get that out of the way. I just like to collect these things. But the NES Classic came out. And obviously it didn't meet demand, if you guys remember that. Now, obviously it's going to be coming back very soon, but some great news involved. Then the Super NES came out, the classic, you know, the smaller editions, and it did really well. So now they're actually in talks, and no joke, you know, this is not really rumors anymore. They already filed a trademark, which you could see today. They actually, they had trademarks for, just like they had for the SNES Classic, they added for the classic Nintendo 64, which is pretty freaking awesome. Could you imagine to actually have a Nintendo 64 that is a mini in your hands? I still have my original N64. But now, if you guys remember, there is now some modding services available for your Nintendo 64. I didn't want to tinker with that or anything. I know I'm good. I could probably do it and pull it off, but I don't want to really open up my classics and risk anything. Where you put an HDMI mod into it and basically have a greater input. There's also some guy I remember who showed online that he could do like the N64 emulation through the Nintendo 64 system and actually play it on extremely tip-top resolution. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to say, well, Leo, it doesn't really matter because the N64 and the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo are perfectly emulated in emulators where you could play it on a computer on big screen and put it even on, like, you know, whatever resolution you wish to put it on. But there's something about, you know, playing it on a classic system that just is unmatched. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how incredible it is to see it on a TV, you know, other than a monitor. A monitor looks great. Everything looks awesome. But when, you know, when you're playing all these old games and you're playing them, and I'm telling you, I urge you guys to actually do this. Get yourself, let's say, an NES. Play Zelda, okay? When you're playing it on the computer, it kind of looks a little too good that you could actually see the flaws and whatever. But when you see it on an old school television, it looks extremely well. And I know a lot of us, when we play these games, we're like, what did we love about that back then? Because now all these big graphic games are coming out, you know, are out already. And so we're comparing and we're like, oh, it's not worth it. But to be honest, I'm telling you, if you guys play this on a regular old school television, you're going to love it. Or even on an HD television, you're going to freaking love it. I'm telling you. It's just a incredible nostalgic feeling, and you really go right into it. You just kind of fit and get back into the groove. It's just amazing. Maybe it's just because I'm a fanboy of that. I don't know. But the thing is, you know, the sales speak for themselves, and they actually did really well in sales for the Nintendo, for the NES and Super NES. Now, the thing is, to actually have a full, and I hope they do this, like a full HDMI and remastered games would be really cool to play on, like, HD resolution, to play games like GoldenEye or something. Now, I know everybody's going to ask, what kind of games are we going to have for it, you know, in it? The truth of the matter is, I don't think the #1 game that I really loved on it, I mean, I had a lot of favorites from Star Fox to, you know, Mario 64 and stuff like that, and I'm sure they're going to be out for this system. The thing is, my favorite game overall, and you guys might call me a little nutty, was GoldenEye. And I really loved GoldenEye, and I really want to see it on this system. I just don't see it possible. Obviously, if you guys can remember all the way back to not so long ago, Xbox 360 tried to get an HD version of GoldenEye running, and they had like videos of it, of this dude that did it in full HD, and it looked incredible, and I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. And of course, due to contractual problems, it failed to go through. And also, I think it was Rare who took advantage of, who did it, but they also only wanted to resurrect their old Rare, purely Rare games, you know, games by Rare that was made purely from there, and didn't just like kind of like take it. I don't personally think GoldenEye is going to be in there, so for all you GoldenEye fans, I mean, you know, you never know, we might actually have it, you never know, but I just don't see it possible for them to do that, especially if they want to release it as a, you know, packed with games and all that stuff into the system. They're going to need to make a certain percentage. I just don't think that they're going to want to do that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think it's a pretty cool idea to come out with, you know, these mini systems. Now, I know emulation is awesome, but wouldn't we love to see a mini GameCube? I would love that. And I think that's going to be probably next, who knows, next in the thing right here. But I always loved Nintendo 64. I remember I pretty much went from Nintendo to Super Nintendo, and then I skipped to Sega Saturn. Because if you guys remember, Nintendo 64 failed to release it on the date and actually elongated and made it longer and screwed themselves over. They really screwed themselves over when they did that because the competition was just coming out. And, of course, PlayStation destroyed it. But it was something about it. Then my neighbors had it, and I walked over to my neighbor's house, played Mario 64, and I was just, like, blown away because he was in the Bowser's, you know, in Bowser's domain. So that part where you grab his tail and spin around, you know, you make him spin and you throw him on one of those bombs or whatever, and he blows up. And I, from that day, I'll never forget, I used to work in a pizzeria shop, and I worked over there as a guy who's doing dishes and sort of like a sous chef, even though I wasn't a sous chef trained or whatever, but I learned, you know, whatever. And I kept telling myself, Leo, you're doing it for this, bro. You're doing it for this. Because every time I hated that job, and I kept going to the bathroom and saying, looking at the picture of the Nintendo 64, you're getting this, bro. You're doing it for this. And then I finally got myself a Nintendo 64 and absolutely loved it. And for nostalgic reasons, it's amazing. I played on the emulators from time to time. I play my old games on it. But, you know, games like, you know, certain Zelda games won't work perfectly on it. But most of the games, all the games almost work flawlessly. But it's not the same feeling like putting a Nintendo 64 controller, even though you could get it modded. I mean, you could get like USB ones. But it's not the same like playing it on a TV screen. And you could see the differences. Like when you're playing console games, and I have a PlayStation 4, console games when you're playing on a TV looks way better than you hooking it up to a monitor. Okay, even my Nintendo Wii U, I hooked up to my monitor here, a 43-incher. That's a 4K television. But at the same time, I think it looks just way better, you know, on regular televisions, on HD televisions. And I think that's where it's going to come down to. So yes, you could play it in an emulator, but guys, I'm telling you, if you're from that era, you're going to want to get yourself one of these. And believe me, they put you right into the thing, you know, right. It's extremely nostalgic. Now, the thing is, obviously, what happened with the Nintendo, you saw what a mess that was. Then people were selling them on eBay for like 3 times the price, which is ridiculous. People were lining up. I remember one of my friends, he bought his hubby Super Nintendo Classic. And, you know, he went over there to the Nintendo store. At first, he asked me, he said, Lior, can you check for me? I really want to make this happen. I said, okay, sure, no problem. I went over there to the Nintendo store, and they were telling me, oh, sir, if you, and, you know, I bought this, a regular game, for the, I think it was for the Wii U, or, no, I think it was for the, yeah, it wasn't for the Switch. I think it was the Wii U. Yeah. So, oh no, wait. It was the Switch. It was the Switch. It was the expansion for Zelda, and then yeah, that's what it was. And then they told me to stand online on this line, not on that line. And I said, "What's that line?" And they told me, "Well, that's the line for the Super Nintendo Classic." And I was like, what the hell? So there's a limit. There was a line out the freaking door and a line outside that went all the way upstairs and into the cash register. And I was in total shock. I was like, my God. And I tried to get it for him. But there's no way, because they were out of stock, and already, like, there were people outside, and they basically, on that time, cut them off and said, we don't have any more. So they didn't, you know, there was less supply than demand, you know, the demand was. And then, of course, those guys who took it most likely were people who were, you know, people that were selling that crap for 3 or 4 times the price. I'm all for it, you know, whatever. I mean, everybody has that. That's what makes it special. But the thing is, right now, they're going to probably mass produce these babies, and it's going to be insane. The Nintendo Classic's actually coming back. There's already word of it in the streets. Not really rumors, but a lot of people are talking about it returning. So I think these, these classic consoles are this one especially is going to probably make it during the holiday season, as obviously Nintendo always likes to market. If you guys remember the Super Nintendo, all the way back, I'm even talking about, it showed, instead of the reindeer of Rudolph and Santa Claus with all his reindeer, it showed Mario on top of Yoshi. Oh man, this is nostalgic, with a Santa Claus hat. And it was just amazing. I so freaking loved those days. And to be able now to go into the Nintendo 64 region is just incredible. So I'm really happy. I'm waiting for a GameCube classic as well. Pretty much all of the classics I would really, really dig. So anyways, let me know down here what you guys think. If you guys want this to come out, what games actually do you want it to be released? Do you think I'm nuts that I would want GoldenEye? And definitely, guys, write to Nintendo. I do it all the time, and until they answer it. And believe it or not, it does have an effect. So keep writing to them. Say you want GoldenEye or you want whatever game you want on it, and they'll listen eventually, I'm sure. Especially when they know that it's going to be, you know, detrimental to their life of sales and stuff like that. So we'll see what the heck is going on. But most likely this thing's going to be pitched probably to us close to holiday season, like Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa. So we'll see what the heck happens. But let me know what games you think you want on that one for the Nintendo 64. Let me know what classic systems you want to be released by Nintendo. And last but not least, let me know if you guys like this idea, or if you guys will be purchasing this baby. It looks, so far we don't know how it looks like, but just I'm looking at like a picture of the actual Nintendo 64 right now, because I like to put it on the sides, which you're going to see on my videos. It just looks so dreamy. I remember the first day I bought it, I was like, I finally got it in my hands. I hooked it up, and oh man, I was playing nonstop. I even took off time from school. I played hooky, bro. Like I could have been in serious trouble playing these games, and it was just insane. And then I got the PlayStation. I played Final Fantasy VII. Yes, I'm a geek, so what? But it was like, oh man, so nostalgic. Let me know what you guys think down below. Have a good one, y'all. Take care. Bye.